Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. We'll catch up on the royal Christmas tomorrow as we too spent the day with our families, but we do have plenty of eye-catching stories this morning. The Sydney Morning Herald reports that New Zealand's Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has moved to distance herself from Prince Harry and Meghan, saying her involvement in a new Netflix documentary series on leadership had nothing to do with the couple. Ardern, along with teenage climate activist Greta Thunberg, is among 7 extraordinary leaders interviewed on Live to Lead, presented and co-produced by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The Prime Minister's office has issued a statement that clarifies that her interview took place more than 3 years ago, and that her involvement had nothing to do with the estranged royals who were brought in at a relatively late stage of the project. The documentary, made with the Nelson Mandela Foundation and inspired by the late South African leader, will be released by the streaming service on December 31st. Meanwhile, it remains unclear just how popular Meghan's podcast actually was and if it will continue. Variety spoke with Dawn Ostroff, Spotify's Chief Content and Advertising Business Officer. Ostroff said, "We know we have to make some big swings and look for podcasts that feel like a big event, not just another podcast that's out there." Variety tries that. Detractors have dismissed archetypes as a vanity project, but to Ostroff, Markle exemplifies the breakout quality Spotify is pursuing in the audio space. She adds, "We are looking for creators with a unique voice, something advertisers would want to be part of, but most important, have a loyal audience that follows them. These podcasters create community around the podcast, something around the guests. People know what to expect and they keep coming back." Ostroff wouldn't say whether Markle's archetypes will be returning for a second season. But a look at Spotify's own press shows that it had 3 of the top 5 podcasts globally for 2022. The Joe Rogan Experience, Alex Cooper's Call Her Daddy talk show, and scripted thriller Case 63, all languages. Spotify's number 3 for the year was Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. None of those are Meghan. A source told the Sunday Times Harry never wanted to admit to himself that it was the Queen who said, "No, you're out." He couldn't fathom that he wasn't the cheeky chappie who was going to sweet-talk Grandma into getting what he wanted. Another courtier added, "Advisors make recommendations to Her Majesty, but there was only one person making the decisions." Palace Intrigue will be right back. There will soon be a new face on the money, and it's King Charles. The Bank of England has unveiled new pound notes with King Charles' portrait that are expected to enter into circulation in mid-2024. The new £5, £10, £20 and £50 notes will be printed only to replace worn-out currency or to meet any increase in demand, so banknotes with the images of the late Queen and the current King will circulate at the same time. The New York Times reminds us that the pound notes were first issued at the end of the 17th century, but the British sovereign has been featured on them only since 1960, with Queen Elizabeth II being the first monarch to appear. The initial notes bore a portrait of the Queen wearing the family's diamond diadem. It was a formal, regal image and was criticised for being a severe and unrealistic likeness, according to the Bank of England. A second portrait by another designer had a better reception because people thought that the portrait was more realistic and she looked more relaxed. One of the fun stories that came out of the Harry and Meghan Netflix documentary was the notion that Meghan had limited colours which she could wear. People took a look at how it is decided who wears what. In Angel Kelly's book, The Other Side of the Coin, The Queen, the Dresser and the Wardrobe, Kelly said that when the late monarch needed an evening dress, she would lay out sketches for the Queen to pick from. Kelly wrote, "Once Her Majesty has chosen her dress for dinner, a handwritten notice is pinned up in the dresser's corridor detailing what she will be wearing, so that the Queen's ladies' maids can select an appropriate dress for the lady they are looking after. When it comes to the royal family, it doesn't matter if they wear the same colour as the Queen because they are family, and sometimes the ladies will wear cocktail dresses even though the Queen might be wearing a long one. Other guests, though, feel they shouldn't be in the same colour as Her Majesty, although the Queen would not mind if this did happen. Sorry, Meghan, someone should have told you." Maybe they did. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your favourite shows. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. It's Palace Intrigue. Good times.